Hello, welcome to this Dawn Busters Taste Challenge. Well, I'm looking outside. It's very foggy, and the sun must be coming up, but it's obscured by the fog. I just heard the newspaper man pass, and that's late. 6:15 is late because usually or often they might pass at 1:45 in the morning. Probably they held the presses, I'm talking about the New Orleans Advocate, until after the football games were over. That happens sometimes. Okay, but I'll be sleeping sometimes, and about 1:45, 2 o'clock, I'll hear the paper pass. Okay, anyway, irrelevant. It's chilly outside, about 50 degrees, damp, so that makes it feel like about 30 degrees. And it was overcast and chilly all day yesterday. Not pleasant. When I finally got to the lower Ninth Ward in New Orleans, no, it was the upper Ninth Ward, and then crossed into the lower Ninth Ward out to Chalmette. Then the sun was out, and it was clear, and about 63 degrees. It felt nice. Went to Mass at 4 p.m. at Our Lady of Prompt Succor in Chalmette. Interesting church. Looked like it was built around 1966, 67. Most of the churches around here were built at that time because Hurricane Betsy blew down a good number of the wooden churches. If they were wooden, it just blew them apart. I don't know about most churches, but many, many, many. St. Peter's in Reserve, St. Hubert in Garyville, Chalmette, all around here. Bad Hurricane Betsy. And there's probably little tornadoes blowing all the churches down and other big buildings. Okay, Katrina, not so much on the tornadoes because it passed east of us. It was the storm surge that hurt us, the big wave in the Gulf that made the water pressure so high in New Orleans that it burst the flood walls and flooded the city. Okay, enough of that geographical information. We have 10 High. Introduced in 1935 as a Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey. Now, it's still got that strange, I've never seen a bourbon like this. I've never seen any whiskey like this with all this grit in there. It was like they forgot to do a step. They forgot to filter it. It is very strange. I just can't get over it. Okay. Anyway, it was a straight bourbon whiskey. And then they say around 2009, they went to a blended bourbon. Yeah. Do they have other versions of 10 High? If we've learned anything from Sazerac, they have many brands that exist on store shelves, but not on their website or their product list. If you get on the Sazerac website, you can go to where they have 10 High listed under bourbon, but they have two sections. It says 10 High, they show the bottles, and there's two different bottle designs, one with a big eagle, one showing this man Hiram Walker. That was the original company, Hiram Walker. And then they have two listings, 10 High and then 10 High Bourbon. But it doesn't show anything really different. So there may be a straight bourbon still in existence because it's a funny thing, this company. Right. But what we get here is the blended. I saw some whiskeys yesterday in Chalmette on Louisiana Highway 47 northbound at super discount, which I didn't think were sold in this state, but there they were. Then I went to International Market in Metairie, Louisiana, and there they were. I said, well, you just never know. You think you know, but you don't know, but you might know. All right. Versus. Yeah, I know this shabby little 100 milliliter bottle of Benchmark, McAfee's Benchmark Old No. 8 bourbon, straight bourbon. Now, these are both sour mash process. They're both aged 3 years. They're both from Kentucky. And today they're both from Sazerac, but they didn't originate it as Sazerac brands, like most of Sazerac brands. If you look at the history of Sazerac on their own website, they talk about how at one time they only had one product, Peychaud's Bitters. And it just kept buying people. They do like Pabst, you know, their whole portfolio is built by fire sales. They go around and buy struggling companies and struggling brands at a discount. Justin Sharp, watching from the treadmill again. Well, that's a good thing. I'm going walking 1.5 miles today. But boy, that fog. Okay. Today's the first Sunday of Advent. Well, of course, at the Vigil Mass last night, they lit the first Advent candle. So that was interesting going to Mass there. I'd never been to Mass in Chalmette in St. Bernard Parish, or as they call it, the parish. That's what the people down there call their parish, the parish. There's 63 parishes, and then there's the parish, or the parish, like they say it, the parish. All right. So Tin High started as a Hiram Walker brand, and then it was bought out, and then eventually Sazerac got a hold of it. Hiram Walker used to have a whole bunch of stuff. And there's the man, Kentucky Sour Mash. And it's so small. I wish I had a magnifying glass. Oh, it says Tin High on the barrel. So he's got his foot up on a barrel, another barrel upright. He's got a ceramic jug, his dog, a bunch of grains, and he's holding in his right hand a glass of whiskey. And he's wearing a vest and a little 1870s tie, long sleeve puffy shirt, boots. That's a cool label. Might be able to see that. Sour Mash. And then there's a crest here. Tin High Bourbon, the eagle, the stars. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And it's filigree, like you can feel the label. You can feel the seal. They just give you some few little specs. 51% straight whiskey, aged at least 36 months, and 49% grain neutral spirits. I know that they buy their grain neutral spirits from Midwest Grain Products in Indiana because they told me that at the distillery. Well, pretty much everybody buys their grain neutral spirits from them. You might say, oh, I'm drinking this craft gin. It cost me $56 a bottle. More than likely, it originated at Midwest Grain Products. Now, it might have been bottled at the craft distillery or bottling plant. Maybe they added some spice to it. But, you know, if you look on Midwest Grain Products, they've got prepared products. Gin, already done. There's different, there's like, what, 6 levels of gin? Okay. Oh, I forgot my tags. All right, so Benchmark. I'll talk about Benchmark while I'm doing the tags. See, it's got that little snarky Jack Daniels type bottle design, just like Evan Williams does. They try to mimic Jack Daniels. And they fool no one. Like the Rainbow. If you listen to that album, Rainbow on Stage, 1977, there's that song they play, You Fool No One. Great album, by the way. I got it, and it's in perfect condition. It's not a first printing, I don't believe. Okay. It's been more than an hour since they locked her in the tower. I ought to do an album review of that, honestly. Rainbow on Stage. I might do an album review of Sabotage, 1975. Also would be something to look at. But we'll see. 1968, we saw the advent of Seagram's Benchmark. Different bottle design, different label. You can look up the old advertisements on Bing, Yahoo, Google, and There was nothing about Old Number 8, nothing about McAfee's. It was just Seagram's bourbon. They didn't have a bourbon, to my knowledge, before that, so they did a bourbon brand. And I guess it did okay. Then when Seagram's imploded in 2000, year 2000, at the end of the 20th century, Sazerac was one of the companies that swooped in and bought up a bunch of their brands, and this was one of them. They also bought Canadian Hunter, which I saw yesterday, and I could have gotten it cheap. I should have bought it, but I didn't. I can go back and get it again. Doesn't matter. It's not important. All right, let's go on. Anyway, they rebranded it McAfee's, named after two brothers who surveyed the area of Frankfort, Kentucky by the Kentucky River in the 1700s. It has no relation to this brand. They called it Old Number 8. You ever heard of Jack Daniel's Old Number 7? Well, yeah, well, this is Old Number 8. Old Number 8 what? Oh, just Old Number 8. Sour mash, Kentucky whiskey, aged for 3 years. It says at least 36 months. Well, you know it's almost certainly no more than 1 minute past 36 months, but I can't say that for sure. I saw a nice proper bottle. I almost bought it just to have something nice to show for $8.99. You know, the nice glass benchmark bottle. No, it was $7.99 at Super Discounts store. $7.99. Okay, I'll open, but I got these two little bottles at Martin Wine Cellar for $1.39. We get these little bottles around here, but mostly it's like John and Neely was saying, Fireball. Right? There's thousands of little 100 milliliter Fireball bottles for $4 around here. That's that spiced whiskey. John and Neely was right. I was saying that the McAfee was an early distiller. He said, no, it was surveyors. Oh, you got me. Hey, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Now the 10. Okay, 10 high. I have to give up trying to make predictions because I have predicted too many times of what's going to happen and I was wrong. The most catastrophic failure was the Kentucky Tavern versus Early Times. Never lived that down. I just thought it would be so clear cut, and it was so opposite of that. Now, which one's going to be better here? I don't know. You know, I don't. They're both aged 36 months. Well, you know, the color is different because this one's hazy and this one ain't. They're both amber and golden. So if you are looking for a whiskey with a lot of sediment in it that looks like dust particles and lint, 5, 10 high for $9.99 a bottle, maybe $10.99, but you probably could find it for $9.99. Which one's going to be better? Oh, well, you would assume that Old Number 8, due to the fact that it's a straight whiskey and 10 highs only a slight majority whiskey, but that doesn't always seem to make that big of a difference as much as you would believe. You would think it's just not going to have anything going for it, but no. I got so many Canadian blended coming up. And you would say, yeah, they're all filler. They're all dull like Canadian Mist. No. We had the Canadian Club, and that was anything but dull. That was a rich, beautiful blended whiskey. Just beautiful. And then I was at an international market last night, and I saw they had a bottle of the 6-year age. Apparently, it's been dropped to 5 years. $3.99 for a flask bottle. Almost bought it. 375 milliliter. I said, nah, I've already checked out. That company specializes in bottles of liquor that might be 20 years old. Old labels. I guess they go around, they're owned by Indians, and I mean people from India. They must go around buying old closed down liquor store stocks that's maybe been stored away forever, because you can see a lot of the labels deteriorated and faded, whatever. But if they hadn't been open, it's probably okay, unless it's been sitting out in the sun, but it's probably okay. And then there's all the food from around the world, especially Indian food, Iranian food, Turkish. Only place I've ever been that had flying horse lager. Wanted to say something else, but it slipped my mind. This one's strong in the sourdough. This one's strong in the sourdough. Oh boy. They literally smell like sourdough bread. I kid you not. Or sourdough, you know, the sourdough biscuits. It's very, oh, there's this, the daylight hitting us. Is there anything else in there? There is some alcohol, some very, very faint charred wood, but I mean faint. It's there if you take a really deep inhalation. But it's very sourdough. Now, let's take into account the benchmark is a high rye mash bill. They'll tell you that on the website. They use a high rye. It's got more rye than normal, but then the 10 high might, because it's Sazerac and they love rye over there. This one has more of a, almost a Werther's Original candy. Werther's Original. You know that caramel butterscotch thing, candy thing? Very weird. But very interesting. So which one smells better? Okay, smells good. Well, I guess this one on my left smells better because it's a cleaner smell. A little cleaner. But it's close. Anyway, we don't buy whiskey to smell it, we buy it to drink. Or in my case, taste. More of a whiskey taster than a drinker. We'll see, I'm 49 years old now, so God willing, if I live a long time, when I'm about 67, I'll be saying, well, now I'm finishing up that stash that I accumulated up till the end of 2017, and now we'll be able to go on to the Maker's Mark that people were asking about. Taste. It's got a definite rye spice right in there. It doesn't predominate, but it's there. Oh, it's there. Makes you wonder, makes you wonder, makes you wonder. Oh, now it's starting to get interesting, people. Now things are getting a little dicey because that swig just had so much charred wood, vanilla, and rye. Well, let me tell you this. I'm a little bit reticent to make a quick decision. You say, oh, hell, I should be talking like that on first Sunday of Advent. You say, oh, gee willikers. You're going to sit there in your chair in your office next to these comic book boxes and tell us that this blended whiskey with 49% grain neutral spirits rivals the straight whiskey? That's what I'm telling you. And interestingly, the dang benchmark, which is straight whiskey, is cheaper than the dang blend. Now, you see, that's a fact. It's at least $1 cheaper. The straight whiskey's at least $1 cheaper than the blended at the stores I've been to around here. Now, somebody said, I can't get 10 higher. I said, look, just get on that Sazerac website and look at the contact area. Call them on the phone. They'll tell you in minutes. You know, I mean, you got to call them on a Monday. Can't call them Sunday. They'll tell you if it's in your town, where it's in your town, and what bottle size is in your town. I'm telling you. They are the best as far as locating stuff. They have told me so many good things. They didn't seem too keen on my presentation of information about ancient age bourbon, though, because I had definitive proof that it was from 1936, not 1946 like they say. And they said, can you show us that? And I gave them all the evidence, but they never changed the website. It's no big deal because I might be like the only person on the planet that ever looked at that and made a challenge about it. How many people drinking ancient age are going to look at the website? You know what I mean? They're going to just drink it. They're not going to sit there and make some big project out of it. Although I would like to get that ancient age preferred now. Oh my goodness. This is going to be a challenge beyond belief. Andy Wright says, morning from Mississippi. Well, hello, Andy Wright. Oh, hadn't been to Mississippi since September, I think it was. And I was just driving through, stopped to use the bathroom. I believe it was the day of the Alabama-Fresno State game. The day before and after that, which was actually, they said Fresno State was the toughest team they played, aside from Auburn. Well, you could make that case because Fresno State's a dynamite. You can see Fresno State was strong. I was at the game. I got a ticket for $10. Yes, you can go to a Southeastern Conference game for $10. Well, yeah, but especially if they're playing a non-conference opponent like Fresno State or Troy. I was at the Troy game. Yes. We got 3 tickets. Now we got 3 tickets for $10. Not each. I mean, $10 total. And people were so blasé about that game, including the Louisiana State Tigers football team. There were a lot of lessons in that game. But I was watching Fresno State and Alabama. I stayed up until the 4th quarter. And I'm watching, and he says, smiley face. I'm watching, and I thought to myself, Alabama's speedy. They're speedy. But to me, they were a little soft. They seemed a little soft. I mean, I was seeing some hard hits from Fresno State, and Fresno State was really hanging in there tough. I thought, I don't know. I'm not too sure this team can go undefeated. They did not, by the way. Of course, now everybody's sweating it out. I mean, everybody that wants to be a national champion, because they pray and Alabama doesn't get into that Final Four, because then you know what's going to happen. Then you know what's going to happen. I know what's going to happen. Everybody knows what's going to happen. You won't see too much softness then. Okay. Oh, one more thing. I saw this whiskey. Cases of it. Cases of it. Was it called Cabin Still or something like that? Maple flavored whiskey. Maple flavored. I thought about it, but I said, I don't care if it's $4.99 for a regular size bottle. I don't want something flavored with maple, actual maple syrup too. Turns out it's a Diageo brand now. They bought it. It was started by some independent guy in 2007, I think, in New England somewhere. And it became a big hit, and then Diageo bought it. Yeah, he sold out. Yeah, a craft whiskey company sold out, you know, because that's what people do. They sell out when you show them the money. I would probably. But I don't know why they have so much of it and it's so cheap, $4.99. Maybe they're trying to promote it here now. It's like a new thing here in New Orleans area. They had it at international market, same price, $4.99 for just cases of it. I had never seen it before, so it must be new. And I go to international market fairly regularly just to scout what they're doing. They always have something peculiar over there. I tell you what, this is not easy. I mean, I'm having a hard time with this. This is an amazing product. Amazing. It's like that Beams 8-star. You laugh at it when you see it, then you drink it, and then you laugh at yourself for laughing. You say, oh, I thought I knew everything. But you find out you didn't know as much as you first believed. And this is the same thing with this. When I saw blended, I said, oh, no, not another Kentucky Gentleman. That stuff was pretty dull. That was on par with the Canadian Mist. And the same price, too, by the way. A little more expensive, actually. No, about the same price. But the 10 high, I just thought, another Kentucky Gentleman clone. Wrong. They're not the same recipe. You think, these companies, it's just all the same whiskey with different labels on it. But then you check their product specs, and it seems to indicate that cannot be true because they got different grams of fat, different calorie counts for the various brands. No. I mean, some of it might be that way. Rebranded, rebadged, you know, like a Pontiac Firenze and a Chevy Cavalier type thing, but not always the case. Okay, I'm going to try to call it, but it's going to be close. Now, which one's better? I mean, if I can't even tell them apart and I'm hemming and hawing and trying to change the subject, it's pretty obvious no one wins. I mean, I can't even figure it out. But that one does taste on the left. It does sort of taste like there could be filler in it. Could be the filler upon further drinking, but it's close. Nothing wrong with it. You could sip it and it'd be delightful. Yeah, this one's got too much rye spice. It's really starting to come out as they breathe. Now, the key to this is you don't do it quick. Now you say, yeah, but I don't want to watch a long video. You always do these long taste test videos. I don't want to watch them. Well, I mean, I wouldn't watch them if I didn't want to watch them. I mean, don't watch them. Skip over them. I'm subscribed to a lot of channels. When they produce videos I'm not interested in, guess what? Do I get angry? No, I simply just don't watch them. Just go to the next thing, and when they make one that I think would be interesting, I watch it. It's very easy to do. Yeah, I think this is the benchmark over here on my right. I'm going to check it now. I believe so. Yeah, it is. It was just too rye oriented not to be the benchmark. So, I can't say it wins, though, because they're just different. You know what I mean? Different doesn't mean it's better. It's just different. It was like I was saying yesterday. You might want to eat an apple, and the next day you might want to eat an orange. It doesn't mean an apple's better than an orange. You just wanted something different. And it's the same story here. They're comparably priced. They're from the same company, and they have their own good attributes. but they are distinctive by with the application of hard work, let's say. If you sit there and think on them enough, you can tell them apart. But right off the bat, no, it's too difficult. So once again, this company, Sazerac, shows a lot of positive things. I mean, this company is something else. And probably every, oh, I know what I wanted to say. It finally came back to me. Probably every liquor store and liquor outlet in the world sells Peychaud's bitters, which is used for highballs. So Peychaud's, it looks like Peychaud's, could be pronounced Peychaud's, but Peychaud's bitters. Yep, that's from here. That's Sazerac. That's how they got started making that for the Sazerac drinks. Okay. What I wanted to say was this. I have remarked in the past that we don't really have liquor stores in Louisiana as a general rule, not as a law or as an absolute practice. And I'll explain that. This is not like Maryland, where only liquor stores can sell alcoholic beverages. Very restrictive place. You can't even buy beer at a grocery store in Maryland. Okay. Moon U17 says, son, beer mug, cheers, smiley face, sunglasses. Okay. I go along with that. But in Louisiana, it's parish by parish. There's no state law that says you can't sell beer in a grocery store or a gas station. Okay. Total local government type, you know, because Louisiana is more of a conservative state. And what that means generally is that you will have more local government control over things. We don't want to get into politics, but usually that's the case. With the conservative states, you have local administration of local problems. Whereas in the liberal or the modern progressive / socialist mindset, you want to always have national solutions to local problems because they believe in regimentation and standardization of all parts of America. And so they would always want to have a U.S. Supreme Court decision to handle some obscure local problem that would only affect people within a county. So you have more of that Soviet Union style application of the use of force, whereas in the conservative areas you would have more of a local application of the use of force. You know, so it only affects people within that little small boundary. But anyway, going. So in Louisiana, we don't have liquor stores in general, but in St. Bernard Parish, what I'm trying to say, in St. Bernard Parish, they do have liquor stores. They don't sell liquor at grocery stores or gas stations. That's a parish ordinance. But it only applies to St. Bernard Parish, the parish. In this parish, St. John the Baptist, everybody sells liquor. You can get drive-through daiquiris here. Drive-through daiquiris. You go to the daiquiri store, you drive through, like a McDonald's drive-through, you get your daiquiri. They used to put the straw in the cap, but they said, no, that was encouraging drinking and driving. So now they hand you the straw so that you can put it in the daiquiri. Okay. Justin says, what temperature do you drink your whiskey at? Room temperature. Room temperature. Do I add ice? Yeah, about once every 6 months I'll add ice. But it's so rare. Okay. 2.5 weeks ago, I have even more exciting news. 2.5 weeks ago, the drunken one asked for my address and John and Neely's address and Tyler's address, and he's going to send us some hot, well, in my case, I don't know what they asked for, but hot and spicy beef jerky from Texas. So I am waiting with bated breath to get this hot and spicy beef jerky. And I told him, the drunken one, Sparky, I said, I will do a beer review with the beef jerky. And he said, good. So we are waiting on the beef jerky from Texas. And I have even more shocking news. I went to International Market. Okay, so I bought. I know it's sad. You say, I thought you were going to stop. I was like a drug addict. They're always going to stop. You know, I'm going to get off heroin next week. Sir Malcolm Royal Club imported blended Scotch whiskey. Interesting label. It'll probably be 2019 before I look at it, but you know, it was $9.49 for the bottle. Everywhere else has it $9.99 to $10.99. I said, well, $9.49. I'll buy it. What the heck? It won't hurt anything. I had some gift money. True story. Then I bought Bellows blended whiskey. I said, Bellows? I've only seen this on the internet. Now, look at this big bottle. This is a liter bottle. You see this liter bottle? Oh, it's heavy. I can't hold it. This was $7.99 at International Market. Yeah, it was covered with dust, so I had to clean it off with some hot water and soap. But it came out nice. And this is a very old company established in 1850. They say 1830, but I found that trademark was acquired in 1850. But anyway, it said bottled by Bellows and Company of St. Louis, Missouri. Now I found out that's Luxor. Luxco, not Luxor, that's Lex Luthor, that's a fan, but Luxco. It's a company that markets obscure and strange liquors, and they're in St. Louis. And they bought Bellows from Jim Beam Company, Beam Suntory, who had bought it from somebody else. It was one of these brands that's been passed around for decades. Used to be prominent, sort of prominent back in the 1930s and 40s. Bellows, one of the oldest liquor companies. Well, for $7.99 a liter, who could, you got a sick, addicted collector like me, who could pass it up? Then I saw this and I said, oh, it was right next to it. And it was all chewed up, like the labels all chewed up at the bottom, probably from roaches or more than likely what was eating that? Those bugs called silverfish. Because silverfish love to eat paper and glue. They won't hurt people. They're not dangerous. They don't carry diseases or bite. They're just kind of yucky to look at. They don't bother me. But silverfish, they just love eating paper. So it probably got eaten up by that. This was the best conditioned bottle. The rest were really ravaged. Like I said, they probably got it out of a warehouse. And then the label was coming off. The glue was so dry, it was coming off. I had to glue it back with some school glue. I even got to peel off some of the glue off the side of the bottle. I'll do that later. This is Bellows and Company Club Whiskey. It's got the old bee. It's like a bee on it. Or really, it looks like a fly. And some laurels, and it says established 1830, if you might notice that. And it says blended and bottled at Frankfurt and Clermont under United States government supervision by Bellows and Company. No, actually, that was Jim Beam Company, okay? And I don't think they make club whiskey anymore. I checked the Luxco website, and there's nothing about club whiskey. 4-year aged straight whiskey, and then 80% grain neutral spirit. So it's meeting the minimum requirements for blended. But apparently this is a bottle from about 7 years ago. I can't really tell. Wait a minute. I'm going to retract. It's from 1994. I knew it looked old. Yeah, this is a bottle from about 23 years ago. Oh my goodness. But for a liter, for $7.99, I couldn't dare pass it up. Okay, so anyway, it just gets crazier and crazier, people. All right, so the lesson of today. If you go to these strange stores, you can buy strange stuff. And secondly, It is not true that a straight bourbon whiskey will necessarily beat out a blended bourbon whiskey, because this just showed that, and I did a blind test and I did not cheat. All right, thanks for watching this video production. We got some more stuff coming up. Well, that's the plan. We always got something coming up, right? Thanks, people. You take care. You, as Stuart Picard would say, Gen Riel Trail, you take care.